Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can create and set up a Java Spring Boot project in VS Code. So this is going to be a simple project for demonstration purpose. You are open to create your own projects with your own dependencies and functionalities, but we are going to keep it a bit simple over here. So first, let's talk about some of the prerequisites for creating a project in VS Code. So the first thing to have is a JDK. So it can be any version that you like, that you want to your project to have. Then after that, you will be requiring a couple of extensions from over here. So if you go to the extensions tab and search for extension pack for Java, you'll find that there is one extension pack from Microsoft, and also you will be requiring a Spring Boot extension pack that is basically from VMware. And you can also use other extensions that you like, but these two are required for this project and for setting up your project basically. So let's go ahead and actually create a Spring Boot project. So for this, you need to open the command palette. You can do this with the help of Control Shift and P. Then you can find a lot of options from over here, but we need to choose this Spring Initializer. Since I've recently used it, I can find it on the top over here. Just click on it, and then you need to specify the Spring Boot version. So one thing you need to keep in mind while choosing a Spring Boot version is that do not choose these snapshot versions. Choose a stable version. So you can either go for 3.5.10 or 4.0.2. So I'm going to go for 4.0.2, and then we need to choose the language as Java. And then you need to actually input the group ID. So you can name it anything basically. It can be related to your project, or you can actually give it your own name like I have done over here. Then you need to input the artifact ID. So I'm going to enter it as demo project. And this is going to be the package name for our project. So I'll just press enter to confirm this. Then we need the packaging type as jar. And then you need to specify the Java version that you want. So I'm going to go with 17. Then herein you need to add some dependencies over here. Since I told that we don't want to be creating a very complicated project for the sake of demonstration. So I'll just go ahead and search for some of the dependencies that we really need. That first one being Spring Web. Then after that, we need to have the H2 database, the in-memory database for small database operations. Then for this, we will be needing a persistence API. So I'm going to go with JPA. You can now add any other type of dependencies that you want. For I'll just be using this DevTools. And I think this is about it. We don't need any more dependencies. You can always choose to go for Lombok if you want to save some time creating the getters and setters and constructors and all of that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going with the 4 dependencies that I've selected. And I'll click on enter. Now this is going to be asking us for a location to set up this project. So I'm going to click on generate into this folder. And you can see that this project was successfully generated on this location. I'm going to click on open. This will actually open a new window in VS Code, which is good since we have our own project set up over in a window over here. Then you can go ahead and check out the pom.xml file and verify that all the dependencies that we have added are actually present over here. Now you need to do is you need to go into the src, then in main, then under the resources folder you will find out the application.properties file. Now this file is very important since you store all your configurations related to the server and the database etc in this particular file. So I'm going to go for some of the configurations for H2 and for JPA. So I'm going to just paste some of the configurations that I have copied from earlier. So these are the configurations as you can see. So it is basically telling Spring to enable the H2 console, which is basically a GUI console that you can access from the web and see what data has been entered into the in-memory database. Then there is the driver name, there is the URL. Then the DDL is going to be created because we haven't yet created any tables. And since we are going to create one or maybe more tables, we need to go with create verb over here. Now just click on save and close this. Now what we need to do is inside the Java and demo project folder, we need to add some packages. So first will be the entity package. This is where we'll be having our entities. Then we need another package for repository. And third, we need a package for service layer, which will contain all the logic. And then there is going to be another package for controller, which will orchestrate the services present in the project. So first off, when we have done all this, we just need to create an entity. So I'll just click on new Java file. Now, when you click on new Java file, you get all these options from over here. So you can choose whichever you want, but for our entity, this is going to be a class. So we are going to go with a class, and I'm going to call it as a book. So we are actually creating a book entity. So this is what I have done. Now let us actually have some fields in here. So first is going to be the title of the book. So string title, private int page count. Now we also will need the version of the book. So, or edition you can say. So edition of the book is also there. Then we need the author of the book. So we added the author. So after this, you need the parameterized constructor and the no args constructor or the default constructor. So VS Code is actually suggesting me, so I'll go with a parameterized constructor first. Then I'll also be creating a default constructor. So I've created that as well. Now we will be creating the getters and setters methods. Okay, so as you can see, we have created our entity. Now it is very important to actually annotate this class with @entity annotation. So I'm going to do that. And then we need to also have an ID over the field that is going to uniquely identify the record of book. So I'm going to annotate it with ID annotation. Now, usually when creating an entity, you also annotate this with @generated value. This which will actually specify in what manner is this ID or the unique field is going to be getting values or assigned values in the database. So you can actually go for identity or you can go for auto incremented, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually give the value to the title. So that is pretty much for the entity code. Then we are going to move ahead to the repositories. It's going to be an interface. So I'm going to call it as book interface, or we can call it as book repository. So book repository interface has been created. Now we don't really need to propose methods over here because a lot of methods for CRUD operations already come bundled in with the JPA repository. So first we need to actually have the book repository extend the JPA repository. In the service layer, we will be actually using this interface to work with the database. So I'm going to go with new Java file and I'm going to create a class. But before that, I also remember that I need to actually annotate this with @repository annotation, which is very essential. Now let us go ahead in the services and create a class, and I'm going to call it as book service. Now this service is going to be annotated with an @service annotation, and inside this book service is going to be the dependency or the bean for the book repository. So I'm going to be declaring it as private final book repository, and we are going to be doing a constructor injection for this. Let's go on and write the business logic for the CRUD operations that are there in all the books in the database. So it is going to be the read operation basically. Get all books is going to be our method. Getting the book by the title, we can actually add another method. Then third method is going to be for creating the book. So as it is being suggested, we are going to go with save book. Now we'll be setting a delete book, and there is also one operation left, that is called the update book. So we have done all the 4 operations: create, read, update, and delete. So this is pretty much it for the service layer. Now we're going to head to the controller. I'm going to create a class inside the controller, and let's just name it as book controller. So this is going to be our controller, and I'm going to annotate with REST controller annotation. And also I'll be using the request mapping, and inside it you can actually specify the paths. So we need the dependency for book service. Now I'm going to just orchestrate these methods that were there in the service layer, the controller. So first we'll be adding a get mapping annotation. Okay, so when you actually go with @get mapping, it gives you a sample or a template of the method signature with along with the body, it seems. So we just have to like edit it out, or maybe you can erase it and then give it. So I'm going to call it as get all books, and this will actually return a list of books. So I'm going to remove the string return type, and instead I'll be entering the list of book. Then get all books, it is not going to actually accept any request parameters, so we are going to remove it. This is a simple get request, and we do not need any of that for this. Now in the get book by title, we actually need the request parameter, or you can actually use path variable if that is what you like. I actually prefer doing the path variable, so I'm going to remove this and add the path variable. You can add a request parameter if you like that, which is totally up to you. And then I'm going to be adding a post mapping here. Now this method is going to be returning us the book object maybe, or we can actually go with string itself. We'll just return the message that this book was successfully added to it, so that is fine. I'm going to call it as add book, and this method will have the address save book. Okay, that looks fine. Let us remove this and also remove this. So we don't really want the string entity as request body. I want a book as the entity, as the request body. So we'll be passing a book object over here in when we're going to request this. And this is what we are actually going to be calling out. And let me remove this first, and let me copy this, and I'm going to put it in try catch block to write another endpoint for @put mapping. So for update, we use the @put mapping annotation, and this is actually going to return a string as well, or maybe we can actually return the object itself. So maybe we just return the book and call it as update book details. This is going to be our endpoint, and update slash book. And inside the path variable is not going to be ID, it is going to be the title over here. Also, I remember now that I have used a path variable before, so I need to mention it here as well. So that is going to be the title. Then in the path variable, I need the title. So let me remove this and add the title over here. And the request body, I'm going to be taking an object of book. So that is also specified now. Now we just need to remove this code and add our own code. Okay, this looks fine. Now we need to do is we need to open the terminal, and inside the terminal I'm going to first do a clean build of the entire project. So for that you need to type in the command mvn clean install. So as you can see that the build is successful over here. Now I'll just clear the terminal first, and then I'm going to run the command for running the Spring Boot project. So mvn Spring Boot :run. Remember, there is no space between the colon and the run. I usually do this mistake a lot. So there's that. Okay, so the application is now starting up, and as you can see in the logs that Tomcat has started on the port 8080. So also the H2 console is available at H2 console. You can actually go ahead and see it, but instead of doing that, let us do one thing. Let us open Postman really quick and let us test out these APIs that we have created. So I have opened my Postman over here, and let me just set up the Postman and my IDE side by side so I can better see this happening. And okay, now let us do one thing. Let us go to the controller and see what endpoints we have. So first we have the get all books endpoint. We will just edit this endpoint, and okay, let us just try and send. So the request went through successfully. There is the 200 OK status, but right now the database is empty. So you cannot actually find anything from over here. So let us actually add a book. So for this, I'm going to remove this get all books, and I'm going to add the save/book. And this is going to be a post request now. So in the body, I have one request entered. So we are going to use this request, but let us try to hit send. So yeah, book was saved successfully. Now to check this, we can actually go back to our initial get all books endpoints, and I'll just turn this to none because we don't need a request body to send with the get API. So I'm just going to click on this, and you see there is one book in the database now. Now you can also test other endpoints, but before that, let me actually add one more book here. I'll turn this to raw, and effective Java 8. Let us go with effective Java 9. And page count is going to be the same, and author is going to be the same, and edition is going to be the same for now, because the entity basically requires us to give only a different ID, since this is going to be unique. All the other fields can be the same. So and you can see the success message over here. Now let's go to get again, and let us go to get all books, and then I'm going to turn it again to none. So yeah, now you can see that there are two books in the database. So now let us actually try to get book by the title. So get book by title. Now this is going to accept a path variable. So let me add the path variable. You can do it with a double curly braces. So I'm going to pass in the title as effective Java 9. So now you can see that the book we requested, we have gotten the information from the database. Now we can also do an update. So update is going to have a put method, and instead of this title is going to be the same, but now this get book by the title is going to be update slash book slash title. So we are going to be changing the value for effective Java 9, and this is going to have a value here. So we can update the page count over here. I can give the page count as 420, and we can change the edition. Whatever the author is going to be the same. You can actually update any fields that you want in the put mapping. So let me just check if everything is right, and I will just click on send after this. So as you can see, it has actually updated our book, and it actually returns the book object or the entity. So you can actually see that the values have been changed. So these values were changed. Addition was changed from 3 to 10. Page count was changed from 416 to 420. And now the last mapping was the delete mapping. So let us go for delete. And instead of update, we are going to change the URL to delete, and title is going to be the same. Let us check if the book was deleted. You can verify it with the get mapping that we earlier used and call get all books. Just verify that your body is none, and then you can call this API, and you can see that only one book is remaining now. There were two earlier, now there is only one. So that is pretty much it for the project. Another option, if you do not have Postman or do not want to do it in Postman, you can actually go ahead and integrate Swagger in your project, in your Spring Boot project. That is a clever way to handle the situation. Then all you need to do is go to a browser and then open the Swagger docs. And there is also an extension for Swagger in VS Code, so you can go ahead and use that as well. And if you want to see how you can actually integrate Swagger into your Spring Boot project, there is a video that I'm going to be putting in the description for you to check out.